Ford just announced that they saved the EV industry by partnering with Tesla. The problem, and the reason why it needed saving, had basically nothing to do with the cars themselves. People like the cars. EVs are generally cooler, faster, more high-tech, more sought after, and a little more expensive than internal combustion engine cars. The problem was with the charging network. Anybody with an EV can typically charge at home. You plug it in, you wait overnight, you get some mileage, you go back to work tomorrow. It's a fine system, it's just slow. It's painfully slow because we don't have the kind of juice that you need to charge an EV fast at our houses. That's partially why a public charging station is so appealing. Fast charge times. You also have to rely on those like you would a fuel pump. If you're either not charging enough at home or if you're going on a road trip, you have to charge somewhere, and the public charging network is the way to do that. And up until very recently, for everyone else who sells electric cars except for Tesla, those public charging stations have been a big, big problem. The existing network for Ford, GM, Cadillac, Volkswagen, Porsche, Mercedes, everyone who's driving a non-Elon mobile sucks. That network is awful. It's riddled with errors and mistakes and reliability issues and faulty claims about the amount of charge that you get through this. Hey, it's a 350 kilowatt charger. We'll charge up in an hour. We'll be ready to go. Wrong. You're getting 50. This is a huge bummer for people. Imagine having to sit there at the gas station for 2-3 hours while you fill up your car with gas because it's just a little trickle. That's what's happening with a lot of these. Or they don't work at all. And you don't know that until you show up there, potentially with a low battery, needing to charge, then you find out it's too late. This just does not work. In comparison, Tesla charging stations have been streamlined, high-powered, reliable, easy to use, build through your phone, through your account with Tesla. They're just slick, they just work, and I'm not even a Tesla fanboy. And in this way, Tesla was a lot like Apple, because everything works, it's all meant to work together and only together. It's proprietary. It's like a lightning port on the bottom of your phone. It doesn't work for anything else. You just have to have a bunch of those cords to make your phone work, similar with a Tesla. And that's because Tesla uses what's called the NACS charger, which stands for North American Charging Standard. And what that means is that they're the only ones in America using this thing and no one else is using it. It could be just as well called the Tesla charging standard. Everybody else across the world has been using what's called the CCS, the Combined Charging System. And recently, the EU actually forced Tesla to start using CCS plugs on their cars overseas. So it was a really interesting time after that had happened and before this recent news drop to go, what's going to happen here? Where is America going to stand and which one of these things are we going to choose? So what we had here in the end was a classic duel. Which one of these two charging standards was going to survive? The NACS with Tesla or the CCS with every other brand? It was like back in the day when I was a kid, DVD versus Laserdisc. They both have their pros and cons. Who's going to win? Neither could live while the other survives. In the end, DVDs won that battle. Nobody has a Laserdisc player laying around their house anymore. And now that Ford has joined up with Tesla, NACS will win this battle. And the reason for that is that the US government has legislation that forces every automaker to skyrocket the average fuel economy of their entire fleet of vehicles. And basically the only way to meet those standards is to sell lots and lots of electrified vehicles. So whether we like it or not, there's going to be a ton of electric cars needing to charge, and the problematic CCS chargers are not going to meet that demand. So what Ford did was saw that problematic future, jump right over the hurdle, and work out a deal with Tesla to let all the current and future Ford EVs to charge at Tesla's own superchargers. Now, all Ford customers will have that premium, reliable charging experience, and that one single move just made all Ford EVs so much more appealing than the competition. But why would Tesla agree to such a thing? Isn't that a negative thing for their customers? Doesn't that just increase the traffic to their own chargers now? Imagine rolling up to a charging station in your new $120,000 Tesla Model S Plaid and you can't charge because some bozo in his used $13,000 Ford Focus Electric is there with a big grin on his face charging up his little toy car. That'd be frustrating. But Tesla can also see the writing on the wall just like Ford can. If they can get a legacy automaker on board with their system, like Ford, that means that everyone conforms to their way of doing things. It means less design and engineering changes will be made for their own vehicles, for Teslas, and it massively increases the value of Tesla's own charging network. And just because Tesla sells power to its own owners fairly cheaply, doesn't mean it has to sell power to everyone cheaply. Think about them putting a 20 or 40% markup on all the juice that goes into Ford vehicles. They could make a lot of money by doing this. But that begs the question, can Ford joining up with Tesla really swing the whole automotive industry in the direction of the NACS chargers? How big of an impact on the EV market does Ford really have right now? Well, in 2022, the total EVs sold in America were 750,000 vehicles. The total Teslas that were sold in 2022 in America were 536,000. So Tesla was responsible for over 71% of all the electric vehicles sold in America in 2022. How many vehicles do you think Ford sold in 2022 that were EVs? What percentage of the market do you think they have? In 2022, Ford only sold 61,500 EVs in America. That means that that's only 8% of the current EV market. It's a teeny tiny piece of the pie for Ford. How can that really swing anything? They're such a minor player in the EV game, right? Consider this. Overall, in 2022, Ford sold 2.3 million vehicles in America. By 2035, if half or more of our vehicles have to be electric, that's going to dwarf Tesla. And that doesn't even include all the other automakers who must be lining up at Tesla's door right now to ask how they can also use Tesla's chargers.